You're on mute.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I didn't realize I was the acting chair here today. Good morning. Welcome. We'll begin the meeting. Let's start with approval of the minutes from the May 23rd meeting. Do I have any questions, discussion, or a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved from the last meeting. Should we have an introduction of visitors before we go further? Sam, can you help me with that? I don't know if everybody's remote today or if anybody's in person.
Yeah. Asha, you would like to introduce yourself? I don't think you've been seen here very much.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Asha Bell Dubosit for the record, and I am FPDR's Financial Analyst 3, and I occasionally tend to fill in for Stacy Jones. I might have attended once before in the past, so I'm happy to be here and happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you.
I think Brian, I think you're new here to Faces here. Want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sergeant Ryan Bren. I've been with the Police Bureau for about 19 years now, and recently took a position as the FPDR liaison here within the Personnel Division. So happy to be here. It's my first meeting, and I'll be just sort of listening in and gathering information.
Thank you. I think we know everybody. So I'd like to introduce Tom Kramer. He'll actually introduce himself a little bit here, but we've been two members down on the board. We've been working hard to nominate people. I do want to thank Catherine McLeod for recommending Tom Kramer. We've looked at Tom Kramer's credentials, and he'll give you a quick background of what his background is. And our process right now is we are working through the mayor's office to put his nomination in front of council. If things go well, be next week, if not the week after that, and then he will become officially a trustee of the board. So I've asked him to join today as just an observer, and next meeting in September, he should be a full trustee. We're still looking for the mayor's designee as the chair. The challenge we're having there is the mayor, as well as all the commissioners, have recruited practically every citizen they can in the city of Portland for all the different commissions and processes to get the new government up and running. And so they've probably tapped about 30 to 40 citizens to do that. And so it sort of dried out the well a little bit. So we're still working with the mayor's office to get his designee for the board chair, and hopefully that will be coming pretty quickly. So Tom, you want to take opportunity to introduce yourself to everybody?
Thank you, Sam. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here. When I read the minutes that Julie Hall circulated 10 days ago, it sounded like a fairly robust group. I was very impressed by the various issues that the trustees dealt with, particularly the interchange about the actuarial standard and why it does or may or may not apply, and looking forward to returning to that. I've been a lawyer in Portland for about 40 years. I'm retired from the private practice of law. I now am employed by one local nonprofit and serving there both as a teacher and as a lawyer, and enjoying that. And I've known about the FPDR for about 30 years, starting when I worked with divorce lawyers to try to divide FPDR benefits on divorce, which was always a heck of a challenge, but an interesting one, and became acquainted with the layers of complexity in the FPDR. So far, I've enjoyed very much working with Sam and with Julie over the sorts of things that Sam mentioned. And as I said, I've been impressed by the quality of the discussions among the trustees, and certainly the quality of the expert advice that the trustees have got from Lauren, from Stacy, and from the actuaries at Milliman. So looking forward to this.
Excellent. Well, what I will say about the last meeting, it was a more colorful one than most. We certainly had more topics to discuss than most. They're not always quite so engaging, but that was a good one to review the minutes from. Any other visitors, or should we move on to the action items? Oh, you're on mute, Sam.
I think I'd learn after 3 years or 4 years of doing this. Okay, ready for the action items.
Okay, very short meeting this time. So I'll turn it over to you, Sam. It's for resolution number 550.
Okay, resolution number 550, we are looking to get approval for a contract, a janitorial contract with House of Lopez Campa LLC. Give you some history. This has been a bizarre situation. As you know, we moved into our new building, I think 13 months ago, and we still don't have an official janitorial contract in place. So I have to go all the way back to 2020 to start this saga out and walk you through everything that's happened. In 2020, FPDR went in front of City Council to get approval to extend our lease in the old office for 1.5 years. We had some options available. We wanted to exercise those options. And any type of lease that gets above a certain dollar amount has to be approved by City Council. And literally midnight the day before this was presented to council for their approval, SEIU Local 49, a union that represents many laborers in the city and in the state, protested our lease extension because our landlord, which is Harrison Square building, did not use union labor for janitorial services. The council said it was too late to go back and reconsider that, so they approved our lease, but then instructed me that when we do go for renew the lease in 2022, that we would request union labor for our janitorial services. So in 2022, we were preparing to move into the office we're in right now. So just remind everybody, we moved 2 floors down in the same building. So we're in the same building, but just a smaller office 2 floors down. And in that lease contract, it said that FPDR will contract with union represented janitorial services in the space throughout the term of the lease. This meant that FPDR could not use the landlord's janitorial service because that was a non-union service, and that normally comes as part of the lease. So we entered into negotiations with Relay Resources in June of 2022. They are a union service that provides a lot of the janitorial services throughout the city of Portland proper. And we negotiated for them for a while, and then they pulled out of the negotiations in September. At that point, we had to go back and try to figure out what to do with it. And also we learned that per Oregon state statutes, we must be using janitorial services that are approved through their Oregon Forward Contractors Bureau, or not bureau, but agency. And there's only 5 such contractors approved in Multnomah County, and only one of those 5 uses union labor, and that was Relay Resources, which is the one that pulled out. So there were numerous discussions over a period of time with facilities, procurement, city attorney's office, and Commissioner Hardesty's office of what were we supposed to do, because Oregon Forward said we need to use their approved contractors, but they were non-union. So finally, in December of 2022, I got direction from Commissioner Hardesty that we should be seeking a janitorial service using union labor, because that was the intent of the ordinance passed by the city. So we issued an RFP in June. Again, there's a whole series of issues that had to be resolved before we get the RFP there. We selected House of Lopez Campa LLC to it. They do not use union staff, but they committed to unionizing their staff, or at least the staff that would come into our office. They are in the process of working with SEIU Local 49 to make that happen. And once they have that happen and we finish all the final contract negotiations, we'll be able to start with what we're doing. And right now we're in contract negotiations. This is the time it always gets nitty gritty. We have to look through all the insurance certificates. All the attorneys have to make from both sides, look at the extensive contract. You read it in the materials. So what we're asking you today is to give me authorization to complete the negotiations with House of Lopez Campa and work for the lease that is a 5-year lease, not lease, but a 5-year contract with them, not to exceed $125,000. That's about $25,000 a year, which we've done some research is fairly standard for that kind of contract. So that's what we're asking for, is that approval for me to complete those contract negotiations, and we can get House of Campa or House of Lopez Campa up and running as quickly as possible.
I'll make a motion to keep you moving forward.
Trustee McClower, yeah, there you go.
Do we have discussion after the second, or do we have discussion prior to the second of the motion?
You can have a discussion after, you just don't take
Okay.
a vote until your discussion's completed.
Fine, I second the motion.
Okay, let's have some discussion.
Just a quick question, if I could, Sam. Do we have a sense of when we might get an update from SEIU about the process for unionizing the workers that come in?
What it will be, we will be working with House of Lopez for that information, and they will keep us appraised of the union, and then we will have to get a letter from them saying that we have unionized employees, and they'll need to specify the union. And if we need to, we can go back to SEIU just to confirm that they are unionized. But we'll be dealing with the contract with the janitorial service, not with the union directly.
Okay. And they've committed, as you said, to do what needs to be done to get their staff unionized?
Yes, they are in discussions with the union right now.
Great. That's all I need.
They're trying something unique here to have only the staff that works in our office unionized and his other staff. Now, House of Lopez is a small minority-owned business in town. He was very impressive in the interview, as with because he came in and toured the office, asked some great questions. He presented Julie Hall headed up the evaluation team. They definitely voted #1 on that for there. So we are very happy with them coming on board. They just need to get through all this insurance certificates, all these little bells and whistles, as well as get, proof from SEIU that they have unionized staff that'll be working in our office.
Okay, and Sam, you're continuing to work with the Harrison Square service for the time being until all of that's.
Yes, yeah. So we aren't having trash piling up in the hallways. We do have the landlord providing us janitorial service. They've given us credit on the lease for not using it, but then they're back charging us a fee for that amount. And as soon as we bring them on board, they'll give us that credit again off the lease.
Great. And again, the amount that you were quoted for this potential contract is in line with what other city offices are paying for union services.
Correct. I double checked with our facilities and procurement team. They said that the price is well in line with what they see elsewhere in the city.
Any other questions or concerns? All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passed.
Okay, so we just have 2 quick little things left to go. Asha, I'm going to bump you up ahead of me. So why don't you go ahead and go over the expenditure report that we have for this month?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Asha Beldevosid again for the record. I will go over the budget to actual report with you guys. This budget to actuals is going through May, and I just wanted to make sure that you're looking at the report through May. We'd sent out an earlier version that went through June, but June had not closed, so the numbers were still kind of moving around. We will go over June when we meet again in September. So for this May report, the couple items I would point out are that you do see some of the PERS contributions being paid here, and that's in the internal materials and services section, that 23.2 million there. Typically, you'll see that coming out of our budget on a more quarterly basis. But due to some restructuring, that kind of happened towards the end of the year. Next year, we'll probably be back on a more regularly scheduled reimbursement. And of that 23 million, I can say it breaks down to about 12.4 for police and 10.8 for fire. And you'll also see a bit more coming out in the month of June. That's the most notable aspect of this report that I would point out, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any questions about any of the other figures they see here.
I just have one generally, and that is, generally speaking, after the June numbers are factored in, are there any material differences from the budgeted amount that you're aware of?
Not material differences, no. Once the June figures kind of solidified, there wasn't anything too exciting. I can say that I was just kind of going over those numbers before the meeting, and the June PERS reimbursements were about 7 million, all said. So it wasn't too far. It was a little less than we originally projected.
Okay.
And Tom, for you, we're talking about PERS, but we're not PERS. But the idea is that our FPDR 3 members, those hired in 2007 and later, are part of PERS, and we pay the city's PERS contribution out of our budget. And what happens is the Police and Fire Bureau will pay it out of their budgets, and then we reimburse them back for it. So all in all, the final comes out of us. So that's what we're talking about now, is trying to true up those PERS contributions. And I think, as Asha noticed here, police and fire bureaus are not always on time getting those, asking for reimbursements for those. So you'll times see gap, ebb and flows of this across the budgeting. Okay, thank you, Asha. Here. So the last thing I wanted to do here is to talk over, because there's been a lot of ideas thrown around of what the board wants to talk about in the future. So I'm going to, talk about, there's a few things that are coming in the next couple of board meetings, but then also try to get your ideas of where you would like to talk about some of these, or when you'd like to talk about some of these other points. For September, we're going to have our annual State of FPDR presentation, where we review everything that happened the prior fiscal year. With that usually takes 2 hours. Sometimes we'll get a lot of questions. It can go up to 3 hours. So it's a long presentation. It's pretty dense with material also. We're going to propose some administrative rules later in the year. I'll give you a very brief heads up of those administrative rules in September, and also go over the administrative rule approval process for you. Just so everybody's on board with what it is. Then we'll go through the process of posting those publicly, and then in the November board meeting is when you'll vote to approve those admin rules. Sometime in the next few meetings, we just completed our strategic plan rollout, and we'd like to introduce it to you. I'll probably send a copy to you beforehand, but go introduce it to you and go in more detail with it. Some other specific topics that you all have discussed is you would like an ASOP number 4 review with Lauren Dunhauer in the future. In January, we had Lisa Knight talk to us about the definition of spouse in our charter and our administrative rules. You asked FPDR to follow up the city attorney's office and come back and give you a report. So that is still out there. There are some questions. Do you want to have any follow-up discussions on equal to or better than presentations that we've had? Discussion of another topic is a form a committee to review the FPDR 2 pension plan. Another one is comparison, get a report that compares FPDR disability program to the Oregon Workers' Comp program. And then at one point, this will probably be closer to maybe 8 or 10 months from now, is that 10 of our 18 people on our bureau are just now being unionized, and that will have some impact on how we are managing our budget and how we would provide services. So we'd like to go more detail over that with you, just as an educational thing. union and the city are still negotiating the contract, and they anticipate that that won't be ready until May of next year at that point. And after we get that, we'll walk you through what the impact is. So in all these on board right now, we have 18 staff. This will mean 14 of our 18 staff will be unionized with it. And it does change how we manage our staff, how we manage our time, and how we make sure that we are going to be served. But that's a topic that we'll bring up next year when we get closer to the union negotiation. So again, the only thing that I have on the agenda was the state of FPDR in September, a quick discussion on admin rules in September with you all voting on admin rules in November. Then I just want to know if, is there a timeline and when you'd like to address any of these other topics? With that, and just to repeat, that's the ASOP number 4 review, definition of spouse, ETOB, committee to review the pension plan, and the comparison of FPDR to Oregon workers' comp.
Thanks, Sam. I can speak to that real quickly. I would like to, for what it's worth, get back to the discussion of the ETOB test as soon as it's reasonable with the other things you have on the agenda. And that would be specifically in relation to some of Jake Winship's comments at the end of last meeting about the idea of having a letter drafted and sent to Oregon PERS board. But whether that ends up being in November, perhaps that might be the first time we could do that.
So that would be good, because again, I'd just recommend under state of FPDR, by the time we're done with it, most people are burned out. So nothing substantive after that one. So November, look at the ETOB.
Thank you.
And I'll probably get back to you a little bit more of what you're looking for, just so we can have the support information you need when we talk about that. So we have a couple months away.
Yeah, no problem.
Catherine, you're on mute.
Is the definition of spouse follow-up discussion expected to be lengthy or?
I think it'd be pretty short with it. I mean, Franco and I have already researched it. We've pretty much got a reply. We'll just firm it up a little bit and give it to you. And I don't think there'll be much takeaway from that.
Would that be reasonable to do in November also?
Sure.
Okay. And what is there another pre-planned main topic for November?
No, November is pretty much a catch up and filling, I don't think. Kim, do you think we have anything else coming in November? I don't think so. You're on mute too.
My apologies. My mouse wasn't gonna go to the unmute button. I think what may take a little more time in November is the vote to approve the administrative role, Sam, if we approach that in November, but I can't think of anything else.
And just a quick reminder, in January, it's the budget. We do not have the actuarial reform because that's biannual, so that will not come up. So it's just the budget in January.
Okay.
Well, if January, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, if it's just a budget in January, would we have time to do the ASOC number 4 review in January as well?
Sure. I think Lauren, is Lauren still? Yeah, Lauren's on here. That's your homework, Lauren. We'll get back to you on what we're looking for at that one. Okay.
Hi, Sam. This is Julie. Do we usually talk about the auditor's annual report in November?
That's part of that is the report with that.
Okay.
So we'll add that to the list. I forgot about that one. Because we are audited every year. So this is the audit report.
Okay. Well, then is it too long to wait till January to have the strategic plan rollout, or would you like to put that in November as well?
No, I'd like to have some time talking about it. I think, you've got ETOB spouse and the audit report it's quite a bit there. Those topics can go short or they could go long. I just don't want to pressure us, because I know historically if we get past 2 hours, we can wind down 2.5 hours, everybody goes bleary eyed. So we'll do that one. So January would be the strategic plan. Okay.
So I think that leaves a committee to review the tier 2 pension benefit questions and the discussion about partial unionization. So,
Well, we have there was brought up a discussion of potentially having a comparison between the FPDR disability program and Oregon workers' comp.
oh, okay, yep.
Yeah, that was one that I had brought up. I'm not sure where it would fit. I mean, it is probably something that's going to be a long-term discussion. So if it gets pushed out a little bit, I think that's okay.
Okay.
It's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Well, do you want to take those topics that we've got through November and January and then look at scheduling the last 3, the ETOB follow-up? Well, that's November, the disability versus workers' comp and committee to review tier 2 and partial unionization. We could discuss whether those work in March or if we want to have an interim meeting in February. For
Okay.
those. Does that work?
Sounds good.
Yep.
So let's just recap here. So September is going to be state of FPDR and an overview of administrative rules. November will be the administrative rules where you actually vote on them. ETOB discussion, spouse, and audit report. Then January would be the budget, the ASOP 4, and the strategic plan.
Great.
And the other 3 we'll put on hold and we can talk about potentially just put that in January as future, is just have another discussion like this in January where we want to go with that. I'm hoping we can get our chair in place by January, but I'm trying to figure out which of the commissions are closing down and see if we can, as before they leave the doors, buttonhole a couple of people and see if they want to work for FPDR. But I have, because it is the mayor's designee, the mayor's office has to feel the most comfortable with this. I can always tell Mayor Wheeler he needs to show up and chair, which he's supposed to do. So, but I don't think so. I think things are going pretty crazy right now with all the government reorg, and then there's a whole lot of the issues with the homeless issues and public safety. They're keeping them really busy. I think we've covered everything that's on my list.
Any other miscellaneous topics for the general good? All right, Asha, Ryan, nice to see you. Tom, I look forward to seeing you again in the future. And I think we're adjourned. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye now.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Hi, everyone.